Hi, Dramione fam. Let's talk about Falling Dark by Scully Murphy. I'm sorry about my voice. I've been dealing with allergies, as most of you probably are, and it just happens to sink right into my chest. So there we go. Sorry. Anyway, Falling Dark is part 2 of Scully Murphy's duology, and it's the sequel of to Bending Light, which is the first one, and which I talked about in my last video. I believe you can read Bending Light on its own, but you can't read Falling Dark on its own. It won't make sense. So you will have to read Bending Light before you read this one. Also, if you've only read Bending Light and you liked it, and you tend to not like darker fics, you like fluffier fics, you can stop at Bending Light. Like, you don't have to read this one. You may want to. Some of you said in the comments that you love how Bending Light can kind of fit right into the canon as this like sweet little summer interlude, and I agree. I do feel like it stands alone. And if Bending Light was a blissful, light-filled, wine-drunk Italian summer fling, Falling Dark is a colder, darker, sadder Scottish winter. It's not dark in the way that like the Soul Destroyer Dramionies are dark, but there's a lot of heartache in this one. So if that's like not your jam, you know, you don't have to read it. That's not to say, however, that this wasn't a good fic. It was. I found myself kind of having to like make myself read it because like it wasn't as fun as the other one, but we're not always here for a good time. We're here for a time. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I stuck it out because it has some really good standouts, which I'll get to in a minute. Let me first just take you through the brief plot. As I said in the last video, Bending Light takes place in the summer after 6th year. Draco's failed to unalive Dumbledore and has been put into Order protection. Thus, they hide him in Italy with Hermione. Then they go into year 7, which involves the war, which we don't see. But we do learn that Draco and his parents were double operatives, helping the Order to defeat Voldemort, as were Blaise and Theo. So Falling Dark picks up after the war at the beginning of year 8. A group of our Hogwarts friends return for one final year to do their newts, and Hermione hasn't seen Draco or heard from him since leaving San Cipriano, and she finds this odd and a little sad, but she's really excited about maybe seeing him. But then she finds out that like he might not even be returning, and she's kind of like, what? She enters Hogwarts in that year feeling kind of alone. Ginny and Theo are her only close friends there. Harry and Ron are not there. Lavender's not there. Lavender's still alive, but she's like off doing like a fashion internship. So she's got Ginny and Theo. Then Draco shows up finally. But he like won't look at her or acknowledge her or speak to her. She tries to kind of like talk to him, but he's rude and cold. Eventually she like corners him, fully backs him into a corner, and she's like, I love you, what the hell? And he just like kind of shrugs and he's like, eh. It's just the worst. But to make matters worse, he seems to be spending all of his time with Astoria Greengrass, and it later comes out that they're engaged. Now that's all I'm going to tell you about the plot, because I can't tell you how it all gets resolved without giving spoilers, but you get the gist. I will tell you that it is HEA for Dramione, but it's a long, tough road. It's longer than Bending Light. It's like almost double the length. But to me, this fic is not about Draco and Hermione. This is more along the lines of De Traquae than like a steamy Dramione. So yes, Draco and Hermione do end up together, but the plot twist forces Hermione into some growth and development. She eventually accepts that Draco has turned away from her and instead focuses on herself and her future plans and her schoolwork and her other friends, and especially her friendship with Theo that is blossoming into more. I was honestly so invested in the Theomione of this fic. Theo is less chaotic in this fic than he often is, but he's so funny and sweet and supportive, and he's just lovely. To me, their relationship was what made this fic. You'll be okay with the fact that they don't end up together. I feel like this fic did a good job with like kind of resolving that. But it did make me want to seek out Theomione fics where they do end up together, because he's just the best. They have such good natural chemistry. They kind of like need each other in this way that is just so sweet. Anyway, as usual, there's a lot of atmosphere in this fic. That's one thing Scully Murphy does really, really well. There's a lot of attention to visual detail. There's obviously incorporation of music, which, by the way, I did read this on, well, I listened to this on Spotify. The Dramione Archives podfic reading of this actually incorporates music into the recording, so that's really cool. Plus, she's an excellent reader. I really enjoy listening to her narrate. So anyway, thank you, Scully Murphy, for this emotional journey. I did really enjoy it. They are very different fics, but I think that they both have something to say that is worth reading. I will say I am now looking to pivot and read a grown-up fic. I feel like I've read a lot of Hogwarts era, which I love, but I kind of want one that's grown up. So what would you recommend? All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.